Hi guys, today we're gonna have another podcast. It's kind of unusual podcast. Today we're gonna have two guests. One guest, it's doctor of dental surgery, and another guest, it's a doctor of law. But all three of us will have some kind of connection. Some connection about teeth, but a lot of connection about hockey. Today we're gonna talk a little about teeth and mostly about hockey. I hope you're gonna like it. If not, you're still gonna like it. And we're gonna start it. We're gonna have our guest, Dr. Matt Drescher. He was already here, but we decided to bring him again because he knows so much about hockey. And we have here Michael Vashavsky. He knows a little bit about hockey, but probably most of all of us. And welcome to our podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And let's talk. Okay, hockey. Hockey and teeth probably connected all together because how many we know so many people, so many hockey players who just lost their teeth. For example, I remember one NHL game, playoff game when Keith from Blackhawks lost his front six teeth. Next period, he was already playing, and you can see Ovechkin. I mean, so I just name it, but it's on. And what we can say. You have to be careful. You need to wear night guards. You need to wear mouth guards. And who's going to help us? Only doctors. And as I know why Dr. Drescher became a doctor, because he was playing hockey. He knew how to take care of his teeth. Doc, when you start and where did you play?
So I started playing hockey. I grew up in suburban Denver, Colorado, and I started playing actually inline hockey and didn't get transitioned to ice until I was around, age, 10 or so. And 95, 96 was a good year for Colorado when they won the Stanley Cup. So that definitely increased the, interest in hockey for me. So, but I'd always been knocking the puck around or the ball around in the street, starting, at a young age. So, that's what kind of got it started out for me.
But did you play inline hockey outside or inside?
Both. Actually. Both. Yeah, there was mostly outdoor. There was, asphalt courts and sport courts at the recreation center that we played at. But then also transitioned. There was at the old airport in Denver. After they closed it, there was a hangar that they converted into an indoor hockey arena that had basically indoor sport court at it. So it's a long drive, but it was worth the drive. Yep.
How about you, Michael?
I started playing when I was 4, first time skating, and I was mostly on the ice. I didn't play too much inline, a little bit of gym hockey, some street ball hockey, but played my whole life through Skokie Flyers Club, then moved to Stevenson High School, played there, and then on at DePaul, finished my college days playing there, and now I still play. So coming up on, we're at almost 20 or 30 years playing ice hockey. Nowadays, I'm playing a little bit more inline roller hockey, street hockey out here at Palatine at Salt Creek. Enjoying as much as I can. And when I was younger, I think I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now, being able to be on the ice or just have a stick in my hand as much. So really appreciate that, being able to play and enjoy the moments of being in the locker room on the ice with the guys.
But why hockey? Why sport of hockey? Put you like in the ice. Why do you like it? I know because we have so much sport, but why hockey, Matt?
Well, I liked it just because it was always fun to be able to skate, and also the group, that you get together. They're always it's always great to have good teammates, the camaraderie amongst teammates and things like that, and just I enjoy the physical nature of the game. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fighter on the ice or anything like that. I usually played forward. My brother played defense. He was a little more rough than I was on things, but I didn't drop the gloves. I liked being able to make the plays, work as a team, and just again the physicality of the game. It made you feel more that you were connected to the sport versus something that was maybe not as high contact, things like that. So it made me really enjoy it, and continue to enjoy it. So.
I can say opposite to you, right?
Yeah.
Not dropping the gloves, right?
Yeah, that happened one time, but it was a good encounter, one I'll never forget. But similar to you, the physicality of the game, I think, was one of the biggest draws to me. And as a kid, watching people skate on the ice in front of you or watching hockey on TV, something about the white ice and the steel carving through the ice. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a polar bear. And so being in a cold environment felt just like a perfect match for me. And I think as I played defense growing up and through high school and through college, and as we got out of the might level, sort level, we were able to start hitting. I think that's where I started to fall in love with hockey a little bit more. And I always told people I loved to play because it was a legal way to get my aggression out on people. I would come out of the game a lot more relaxed and calm than I would come in it. So, and unfortunately, there's no hitting in men's league these days. So,
official hitting.
Official hitting.
Yeah.
Still find a way to get a little aggressive.
But hockey, if you're gonna compare to other sports, you're never gonna see in hockey when you got hit, you lay down. Let's say if it's so bad, you go into the locker room. But usually, you got hit, you lay down. You just couple minutes, you're playing again. You can see soccer, you can see football, basketball. You down, that's it. Everything stop. Everybody crying. Right? This is right.
Oh yeah.
I think so, and I think that goes a little bit to the pride that you see professionals carrying out, setting the example for kids and for anyone else who's playing at a younger level, just to be proud that you're able to be on the ice. And it's a tough sport. I would say it's one of the toughest sports. Football obviously is very has a big physical component to it, but for hockey, you're as physical on little centimeter blades of steel, and there's no out of bounds. So you can't run away from someone out there as you could at football, for example. So, that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with it.
Quarterback taking the fall in football, right? They're about to get hit and they just slide instead. You don't do that.
You don't. You even can't do this in hockey. It's impossible. And we're talking about a little bit like junior young hockey. Okay, when the season started in NHL, what are your prediction? What team you were voting, and what do you think who's gonna, like in the beginning, what do you think who's gonna win?
Yeah, I mean, since I grew up, in Denver, as I said before, I think in our last podcast, I still have or before the last one, that I still have a spot in my heart for Denver. And they've had a really good team, in Colorado. Years, they've had a good team for a few years, but this year, especially at the beginning of the year, how hot they started at the beginning of the season. I'm not anti-Blackhawk by any means. Been to games, even though they haven't had as sterling of a year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, looking at how they played, just the players that they had together, they really bolstered the defense in the offseason, getting rid of, their goaltending issues they were having, I think has really helped them as well, too. So, because they could score a lot of goals last year, they just were giving up a lot. This year, they gave up a lot fewer goals, which is why they ended up having less than 10 losses in regulation through, I forget how many games this season. It was a long time before they had 10 regulation losses. So that was my thought, because I focus mostly on the Western Conference. I don't know as much about the East. So
obviously, we're not thinking the Blackhawks were going to make it far this year, but I really love watching player development throughout the year and throughout the seasons. Obviously, with the Blackhawks, they've got a lot of youth. So being able to watch those players develop, so like Connor Bedard, Frank Nazar, I was really excited to see what steps that they would take as players. As far as a team that I was thinking was going to make it all the way, I was saying from the beginning, Dallas Stars was going to be a team. I just think that they're so deep on forwards, all four lines. They've got skill, size, and on defense, they've got three lines of six great D, and Jake Ottinger in net. And I think they've similar to Colorado. Colorado pulled one through a couple years ago, but Dallas has been really, really close, knocking on the doorstep the last few years. I thought this year was going to be their chance. Minnesota proved me wrong. But I was also really excited for former Blackhawks players. I like to follow them along throughout their future teams, players and coaches. So I was really looking at the Anaheim Ducks, who's coached by Joel Quenneville right now, and I was really happy to see him get another chance to go out there and coaching. And look at them now. You know, they're in the playoffs. They're doing great things. I think they might have actually just lost to Vegas, but
they did. Right? Well, they were behind. So Vegas it was 3-2. But I don't know. Do they play again today?
They might.
Okay. They might, yeah.
But I'm really happy to see Joe Quenneville take that team to where they are now. It really reminds me of what he did with the Blackhawks in 2009.
Yeah, I kind of was voting for Edmonton because like 2 years in a row they almost get it. Almost. I was saying maybe this year it's the year. And McDavid kind of deserved to win.
Yeah.
Let's see. No luck.
He's got to learn from Ovechkin. You know, stick with it. Eventually it will come at the time when you maybe least expect it. But also, if you chose to come to Chicago, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, it's rumors. Rumors. But he's over 30, right? Or
I think he's approaching right there, age. Late 20, or early 30, right there.
But let's say now playoffs already kind of almost closing down, already semifinals close. What do you think about playoffs? What do you think about teams?
Like who has got the best chance?
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina's looking tough because they just swept again, you know, to finish the series, you know. So it's like, man, you know, I mean, they're, I think, going to be the force out of the East. So, you know, in the West, I mean, you know, anything can happen, I think, between Vegas and Anaheim. I mean, because Anaheim was up by a lot, and Vegas is now, you know, 3-2, you know, and Colorado just shut out Minnesota. So, you know, we'll see who ends up becoming the top of the two of them. But, I mean, Vegas has had a good team, you know, you know, they still have some good skilled players, and so does Anaheim, though, too. I actually saw Anaheim play this year when they came and played the Blackhawks. So, you know, that was, you know, got to see them firsthand this year, and they looked pretty sharp then, too. So I think it still will be to be determined in the West, even though I am biased towards Colorado. I'm not going to, you know, sell the other two teams short, you know. But, yeah, East, I mean, Carolina, when they're sweeping 2 in a row, it's like it's hard to argue with that, you know.
I also had Carolina coming out of the East. I did a little bracket with my brother, and we had Carolina coming out of the East, Dallas coming out of the West. Didn't hit on Dallas, but I think in general, playoff hockey is my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah.
The intensity is second to none. As far as any other playoff series, the players just take it to another level. I just saw something yesterday. Philadelphia Flyers got eliminated from the playoffs. They released their injury report. 10 players with broken bones, ribs, you know, dislocated this, torn that. And the players are playing through that. And they're not telling anyone, and they're toughing it out. And I think that's just a testament to the character you need to be a hockey player, especially professionally. But, you know, that carries over to yourself, your personal character. And so, by far, best thing in sports is playoff hockey. And the deeper in the playoffs you get, the better it gets.
But if we're gonna go back to like childhood, how hard was for you guys to play? I mean, when you play in the better team, you play more and more and more. It's been sometime before the school, sometime after school, sometime during school. How was your experience growing up playing hockey?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of travel. You know, every weekend, you know, you were gone somewhere. During the week, we didn't ever necessarily have games during the week that often. We did sometimes, but you know, mostly it was weekends, and you were gone the whole weekend. So second school's done on Friday, or you're getting out of school early Friday, you're gone for the weekend, and then you come back and exhausted on Monday for, you know, sleeping in school.
Yeah, homework and everything.
But I wouldn't change it for anything. You know, I mean, it was a great experience. You know, obviously, I wasn't talented enough to, you know, take it to the next level, but, you know, there's very few that do. So, you know, I realized that was, you know, I know are talking mostly about, hockey, but a little dentistry. I mean, it's like, that's why I kind of realized I had to do something else because I wasn't going to be able to make it as a hockey player. So,
Real life, yeah.
So,
Yep.
because there's very few that achieve the high level like that. And, I knew it wasn't going to happen for me.
First of all, injuries happen a lot. You could be like top one, but injury happened and you're done. You don't have a good profession or good occupation. What are you gonna do? How about you, Mike?
One of the things that I remember most vividly growing up was the 6 a.m. practices, getting to the rink when the lights are off, the smell of the rink.
Steam.
On a clean ice, you see the steam coming off. So that was also most vivid memory, but also one of the harder things because back in the day I wasn't really a morning person and I kind of dreaded going to those practices, especially when I knew it was going to be a lot of power skating. So the power skating practices were my least favorite, and what I found to be the most annoying part were the circle drills where you skate in a circle and then do it backwards, and I distinctly remember I have so much lower back pain from doing those backward circles. But it's all part of the plan to get you to be a better skater, which was never my strong suit. But also, I think one of the better parts was you're going through that with your teammates together.
Yeah.
And so sharing that connection with them, and then knowing that you're not alone, was a big factor in what kind of kept me going.
But do you still keep a contact with the people who you played before, let's say even 10 years ago?
Not so much. I mean, it depends. There are thinking, maybe on social media I'll stay connected with them, but as far as constant communication, not so much. I think I still play in a men's league team with several people that I played in high school with. And so that's been a great group that we've been able to keep going in a men's league in Mount Prospect. As well, I've played with my old college teammates at Johnny's. But the hockey community is very small. And so people I've grown up playing with, if I don't see them or don't talk to them, but I run into them somewhere, most likely on the ice, it's like nothing's ever changed and no time has passed. And it's always so great energy and great relationships.
But did you think, like Matt said, like in the beginning when you play hockey, like 15, 14, 16, did you think like, okay, I'm gonna go far enough? Or you think, no, probably enough, I'm just gonna go somewhere and keep some?
I honestly, maybe when I was younger, had dreams of making to the NHL. I think being realistic later on, seeing that I wasn't the most in shape kid, I wasn't the fastest kid, but I did have a lot of fun doing it. So I knew eventually I would probably end up playing high school or, nothing where I was shooting for to make it professional in any way. But I didn't get the best luck of the draw. But, not like you said, not many people do. And it takes a huge commitment.
So huge.
And a lot of dedication. I remember my biggest excuse as a kid for not being able to hang out with my friends or going to someone's birthday or something. Sorry, I can't, I have hockey. And that was just, that was reality, but that's what I wanted to do. And it was a whole different world that I was leaving or coming to when I left school that no one at school was really a part of or knew existed. So it was a great way to meet new people and relationships, even if you weren't going to take it really far.
Yeah. Same as you?
Yeah, I agree. Oh, yeah. And that's why what I had said earlier, I kind of quasi-took from one of my friends that I played hockey with, who was way better than me. He actually went back to Canada to play. He was Canadian, and his dad had played in the NHL for 10 plus years. He had a long career in the NHL, and he told me, one time, he's like, yeah, because I kept up with them on social media like you've done. That's mostly what I've done with people I played with when I was younger, because, we've all gone our kind of separate ways, especially since I didn't grow up around here. I'm sure a lot of people you played with stayed local around here, but he went back to Canada to play, and he told me, after years later, he's like, you love to play, you love the game, you always think about it as a kid of, hey, I want to be able to do that, but then once you get older, you realize there's very few people that make it to that level. So if you want to try to make it to that level, sometimes you have to find a different way there. So, and to this day, that's true for him because he actually works for an NHL team as a scout. So he's like, well, he was joking with me. He's like, maybe someday we'll see you as a team dentist. I was like,
it's a good idea.
we'll see about that.
Go back to dentistry, yeah. And like everybody knows, like every professional team, they have a dentist right on the side because it's during the game it happened. You can see that it's all over the place, and maybe we're all gonna go to Black Hats. Okay, let's come back to as Stanley Cup playoffs. We're gonna have probably 4 teams. What do you think? Which team gonna have more chances to win, and why? Let's start from Matt.
I know where Matt's going with this.
Well, don't even have to ask, right? So I would just go with the 2 C's, Colorado and Carolina. That would be my final.
My final.
It's going to be a tough match between the 2 of them. I mean, they both have, again, a lot of talent, a lot of depth. They've shown that they're, playing well, especially Carolina by sweeping. So, I think, part of it is definitely having the talent and the depth, but also, having that chemistry gelling all at the right time, is going to carry him deeper. So I think, again, I don't want to put off the other 2 teams, but I think those would be my 2. So it'll be a grudge match in the finals, though. Those 2 are the ones they're playing. I hate to shy away from, Colorado, but, Carolina, they can give them a run for their money. They're good. So I would have a hard time picking between the 2 of them. So
I'd have to agree with Matt here. Outside of both teams being very deep, I might have to give the edge slightly to Colorado because they have arguably the best player in the world right now, outside of Connor McDavid, in Nathan McKinnon. And the goal he scored last night was incredible. But they also have the best defenseman in the world in Cale Makar. And both of those 2 guys together on opposite ends of the ice, they give that team an advantage that no one else has. And chemistry is a huge part of it too, and culture. And I think Jared Bednar, their coach, does a great job of balancing the roles, the personalities, the characters in that locker room. And they've got great veteran leadership. And then similarly with Carolina, with Rob Brindamore, former player, former Stanley Cup champion for Carolina, now their head coach. And they've also, similar to Dallas, they've been very close year after year now, with Sebastian Aho leading the way. And I really hope those 2 teams meet in the final. That's going to be a match right there.
But we can take off the play Montreal too because they're so good now.
Yep.
And looks they can go through too. Never know.
And that's the beauty of the NHL playoffs in general. Anything's possible, especially in 7-game series. First couple games, you're getting to know your opponent if you haven't already played them a lot earlier in the season. But anything can happen in the playoffs, and especially when you run into a hot goaltender, that changes everything for a team. So it's going to be really interesting to see. You've got the young teams, the veteran teams, powerhouses. Teams like Montreal, they're playing with house money. No one expects them to be where they're at. So they have nothing to lose, and that's very scary.
When you play with nothing to lose, those are always the toughest games. I remember when we'd play teams like that when I was younger. They go out there like they got nothing to lose. It's like, man, that made it up.
And the worst part, you're much better, right? And you're losing.
Right.
And it's usually happen all the time. Tell us about your outfit.
Yes.
What is it? Because it's kind of unique.
Yes.
We know what it is, but just not everybody knows.
Well, being a player, I also have enjoyed being a fan and a spectator as well too. So fortunately, before, a lot of the things have changed over the years, I actually had an opportunity where I lived in Europe about 15 years ago now. And I had the opportunity while I was there to actually go watch, some hockey in the KHL. because that was one of the things I'd always wanted to see. Some of the higher tier European leagues, because you always see a lot of the talent that comes from Europe, and a lot of the way that they play, and how some of the talent from the North America goes to play in Europe too. It's not just a lower tier league. So I wanted to see the action, and so I was fortunate enough I was able to jump through all the hoops of getting a Russian visa, and actually got to get into the country. That required a lot of work. It's, as a United States citizen, they make you jump through a lot of hoops. I had to go to a consulate office in Denmark because that's where I was living at the time. I had to meet one-on-one with somebody. I'm assuming he probably was part of the KGB, or at that point, I guess it was
usually.
I guess it was the FSB probably at that point, because this was in the 2000s. But still, it was. I'm sure they got a folder on me somewhere there, because I had to sit down one-on-one with this guy, and he asked me about 500 questions, mostly revolving around why do you want to come to the country. And he had a hard time fathoming that I wanted to come just to be able to watch hockey. So I went to St. Petersburg. I saw SKA play. So this was one of the things that I got. But when we did our first podcast beforehand, I was talking about, some of the other things I had. So, this one also, I didn't get when I was there, but this is Malkin jersey from Metallurg. Yeah. But, that one I bought online. But I do have a Ska jersey that I got when I was there too. But I chose to wear this one this evening because, I know that kind of perked your ears up.
Yeah. But Malkin, can you imagine, how many years ago, and he's still playing?
Right.
I'm not talking about Ovechkin everywhere, but let's talk about Malkin. Can you imagine how much hard do you need, how much things, everything you need to, he's almost 40, right? And he's kind of in good condition. I know they out, but he was good.
Yeah, he's been consistently good ever since he came to the Penguins. So, he's had a very good career. So
for me, it's usually so hard to see how, let's say, players playing all career in one team, and at the end of that, somehow, let's say, we talk about Kane, we talk about Taves, I'm talking Black House, but you can see even the captain of Tampa Bay,
Stamkos.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know why I understand it's money in business, but the people were playing all career in one team. Why you have to just?
They like the culture, they like the place, and I think they're getting the compensation they want, and they're feeling valued as a member of the team there, and not just trying to chase the big payday somewhere else.
Yeah, you sorry to cut you off. You look around now, there's very few people who have been doing that. Malkin, Letang, Crosby, all on one team, almost 2 decades. Andrei Kopitar just retired from the LA Kings. He's been there for about 20 years too. Drew Doughty is still there. So you've got in Tampa Bay still Victor Hedman. He's not as old as them, but he's making his way there. But you never know when. Depends on the team. Like with the Blackhawks, when Kane and Taves at their point in their career, and then the Blackhawks were kind of, whether it be cap space, draft pick situation, they didn't have what it took to contend. And so sometimes you just do right by the player. Maybe they want to finish their career trying to win more Stanley Cups versus staying comfortable at home. So it's a really fine line to walk. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's business.
But do you think, do they have a choice to stay, or it's management decide you're gonna go?
Well, some players have no trade clauses.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they do have a choice. But even in those instances, like with Patrick Kane, he had a no trade clause, or maybe a modified no trade clause. The Blackhawks still will come up to him and be like, "Hey, I know you have this, but would you still consider moving?" And so they can waive it. So when you're a player like Kane, Taves, Crosby, you have those no trade clauses, and you have as much control as you can to determine where you're going to play. So you're not surprised if a team trades you like that.
Okay,
but
interesting. Yeah, but I'm thinking like if ever we like hockey, maybe we can make like a dental team, like dental hockey team.
Yes,
it would be fun. It's gonna be all different age. I mean, I can only bring water to you guys. I'm not gonna play.
Hold on, Leo. You have a very unique experience with hockey, even though you didn't skate.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
So you can do more than share waters.
Yeah, but it will be fun. I know because I love hockey. Hockey, even I never skate in my life. No, a couple of times I just went on ice, but I said, yeah, not mine. But one of two of three, four of my kids they were kind of on ice for sure. But I don't know why. Just in my heart, and yeah, I'm Blackhawks fan. And actually, I was working for Blackhawks from 2007 until COVID started 2022, like a kind of Russian reporter. Like I took interviews and actually I saw live 3 Stanley Cups. Live. The last one I see right in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of, I know some people they never see like in their live Stanley Cup, but we were so lucky we have 3 in one decade. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 5
10,
years.
13, 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I was a kid back in Ukraine, somehow somebody just from, let's say, USA 1980s, sent this just VHS tape. It was a wedding. Somebody taped a wedding, some our relatives. But in the end, it was a hockey game. 1972, when they play Canada, play with Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
They just tape it on the top, but they live like whole period. And I saw Bobby Hall. And I was like, oh, Bobby Golden Jet. It was. And when I find out where I'm going to go, like from Ukraine, where we're going to move, I knew it's going to be Chicago. I said, oh my God, Blackhawks. Not Black, I mean, I know it's impossible to get in. And somehow I just got the opportunity to get in. And when first time I see Bobby Hall and inside because he came to locker room, I started shaking. And I knew I can talk, but I couldn't talk. I was shaking. After I took so many interviews with him, and he was telling me so many crazy stories when he was in Russia playing. But it was kind of good experience. Unfortunately, it's gone, but traffic is so long go from there to downtown, but it was a good experience.
You got to see the Stanley Cups
3 times
on home ice.
on home ice. I was drinking beer from there in the locker room. Yeah.
Not many people can say that.
Not many people I can say. It was kind of like memory, but it's a good memory.
Great memories.
What else you can say about hockey?
Honestly, I'm very thankful to you that you put me in. And it's been my life's longest commitment, now almost 30 years. And I cherish it deeply. And I made some great friendships, some of my best friendships through hockey. And it's what I think is the greatest game in the world. Brings people together, and the community is very strong. It's filled with great people, and people want to help each other out, whether it be on the ice, in the locker room. They help each other professionally off the ice. I'm just in love with the game fully. The sticks, the sound of the skates carving through the ice, the sound of a perfect slap shot, then hitting the post.
Oh yeah,
it's the best for me. So 1 year after college, I didn't play for 1 year, and the first time I came back on the ice after that year off, I realized how quickly it can take for you to start to suck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because you stay off and you forget, your skills get rusty. And so then I made a commitment to myself. It's like, this is never happening again. And since then, that was like 2017. 10 years later, still playing and still very thankful.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound exactly, and just say exactly what Michael said, but I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, I think for me, hockey has been one of those things that I feel just relaxed doing it. I enjoy it. It makes me feel, more, I hate to use the word, calm, but it's like, it just is one of those things that's a mental thing that I can get focused in. I enjoy it. Everything about the game, especially the hitting the post echoes through the entire arena. It's like just all the sights, the sounds, everything that you know from playing it for such a long time, and you played it longer than me. So, I mean, I started young, but not as young as you, and I didn't play as much as you, and I'm more relegated to the men's league, that's not as high intensity as it was when we were playing when we were younger. You're 100% right. I mean, our head still knows what to do, but our hands and our legs don't always work the way that our head knows they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Even after just a year, but it's one of those things that helps keep me level-minded, to be able to know that I can go out and do this, see this group of guys that I've known now for years, and just be able to enjoy, have something to not completely take my mind off of everything else, but it's when you're on the ice, that's all you think about. Mm-hmm. And that's what you focus on, and it's just enjoyable the entire time. So
100%. And to piggyback off that, there's not many other things other than hockey where I can do today that completely, when I'm on the ice, I forget about everything else. Stressful day, problems anywhere, on the ice, nothing else matters. And that type of therapy is priceless. And that's one of the main reasons now that I love playing.
Absolutely.
And more of our conversation, we can say like that. Play hockey, play sport, stay out of trouble. And if you have trouble, we have Dr. Lo, he can help you. And if you have problem with your teeth, we have another doctor, he can help you. See you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you.